Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. Today we'll be doing a recap for the movie, The Twin. Before getting into our video, subscribe to our channel to avoid missing updates. Spoiler alert. The film starts when we see a family driving through a field where they met with an accident in New York. Rachel, the mother, screamed in the hospital for one of her twin children. Nathan died. Dad Anthony, Rachel, and their other child Elliot were buried in a nearby cemetery. After the incident, Rachel was sad and depressed, so Anthony decided to relocate to Finland to begin a new life. They sold their home and moved into an old ancestral home. Anthony was a well-known author, so everyone admired him. Elliot likes this new place so much that he starts wandering around, frightening Rachel. She became overly protective after Nathan died. Elliot chose his room on the top floor after they moved in. Elliot was missing Nathan and requested an extra bed to make himself at ease. Rachel reluctantly agreed. Anthony objected to this because its sole purpose was to move forward from Nathan's memory. Rachel has a dream about attending a funeral while sleeping. The following day, these guys bury Nathan's belongings before a cross. Elliot buries Nathan's mesh game toy. Later, they go on a boat ride, during which Anthony tells an urban legend story. He points to a handprint and claims it dates back to antiquity. It's believed that whoever touches this and makes a wish will have their wish granted. In his innocence, Elliot touches it and wishes for something. The following day was routine. Anthony was writing his book, and Rachel was doing the laundry when she heard two children's voices from Elliot's room. Elliot was doing everything by himself, but he was talking to someone. Elliot didn't respond when Rachel asked him what he was doing, instead closing the door in her face. Rachel finds this strange. These guys later attend a welcome party hosted by the villagers in their honor. Rachel meets Anthony's family friend and doctor there. Rachel suspected that no one from the village spoke to her because they didn't speak English. Then we see a lady named Helen who claims to know English but is simply ignoring her. Allow them to get to know you. She later took Rachel for a walk outside where they began chatting. Rachel revealed that she used to be a photographer specializing in architectural building shapes. They've come to start a new life because Anthony felt more at ease here. Helen then says that she dreamed about Rachel and her son. His wish was granted. Rachel couldn't understand what she was saying until Anthony arrived with Elliot and the doctor. Helen gave her business card before leaving. The villagers now placed Rachel and Anthony on a ceremonial wedding swing. This swing was intended for the newlywed couple to commemorate their new beginning. Because Anthony and Rachel were married in America, this represented their new beginning in this country. Rachel was hesitant, and while on the swing, she became dizzy. Rachel collapsed after a couple of swings, and Elliot subtly ran from there. In the evening, Rachel scolds Elliot for running away. Elliot exhibits increasingly disturbing behaviors, including claiming to be Nathan. She later blamed herself for her child's mental state. She attempted to remove Nathan's toys from Elliot's room, but Elliot intervened. He insisted that he was Nathan, and that these were his toys. Anthony took Rachel and Elliot to his doctor and reviewed everything with them. According to the doctor, Elliot was dealing with the tragedy of losing his twin brother in his way. He was thinking about his mother's feelings. Rachel's attempt to get the town doctor to treat Elliot ends with him insisting that she's ill and requires therapy. Rachel contacts Helen, who informs her that the town is part of a cult. She shows Rachel some drawings and claims that the circle represents a violation of the Holy Trinity. She believes Elliot was possessed by the demon incubus. Rachel thought this was insane and ran away from there. That night, Helen has a dream about someone being in her house. Someone killed her. The next morning, she tells Rachel about her dream. She also claims that her husband was possessed. He tried to warn her, but she didn't listen. He paid the price by dying. Helen shows his photo, which has his face blurred, but hers and others visible. Rachel, who used to be a professional photographer, decides to try the same image with Elliot. That night, she sees the same funeral image with the child's coffin. Rachel takes photographs of Elliot at home in a swing and brings them to town to be developed. Later, she and Elliot hold a sort of seance, interrupted by the townspeople and Anthony, who inform her that they want to use Elliot in a ritual. Rachel disagrees, but it's late. Elliot had vanished from this location. Anthony claims that he's already with him. The villager sees Rachel, and we see the doctor sedating her with needles. Helen was sleeping in her house when she had this dream. She was having visions similar to when she claimed to have seen Elliot making a wish. Rachel wakes up late the next morning in her bed. She noticed broken mirror pieces while throwing the trash. She was torn about whether what she saw the night before was real or a dream. Rachel retrieves the photographs the next day and is terrified when Elliot isn't in them. She brings them to Helen, who informs her that this is the demon mocking her. She persuades Rachel to take her to Elliot so she can try to save him. Helen and Rachel arrive in their destination. She demonstrates this to Elliot. Helen is taken aback by this. She was terrified, so she called Rachel sick and left. Elliot was smiling. Rachel was perplexed, and she ran after Helen when they ran into Anthony and the rest of the villagers. In a panic, Helen attempts to shoot at them, but the villagers quickly grab her and stop her. The doctor sedated her. She had another vision before falling asleep. Rachel awakens with a blurry vision on the shore of a lake or river, where she notices Helen's decapitated head lying nearby among a heap of goat heads. The villagers are all dressed in black or white robes, and she's wearing a white gown and robe with a flower wreath on her head. Soon after, she sees Elliot dressed similarly and lying in a white coffin with its lid open, and Anthony appears on the scene and slits the boy's throat with a dagger. The blood is then fed to an unconscious Rachel, and some of it rubbed in a circle on her stomach, which grows instantly as if pregnant with a womb. The villagers then recite an incantation before tossing Rachel into the lake. The next morning, she awakens in her bed to Elliot's whispers and discovers that a chair has blocked her door in front of it. Her maternal instinct kicks in, and she manages to escape and go to the attic, where she finds Elliot trapped inside a box, just as he was the night before. Elliot was dressed in the same outfit she had seen in her dream, and he was about to be sacrificed. She grabs him and flees through the back door. When Anthony noticed her running, he began chasing her through the woods. Rachel was convinced he was planning to murder her son. Anthony now tells her the truth. He says, "There are no twins," while shouting, "Nathan, we only had one child. We fought, you chose Nathan, and he left the house." When the accident occurred, Rachel attempted to leave Anthony and take Nathan with her. Elliot was created as a coping mechanism for her grief and anger. He agreed to the delusion to avoid committing Rachel to an asylum and relocated her to Finland to start over. Rachel has another vision in which she is near the burnt car and sees Nathan's burnt body. For a brief moment, Elliot vanishes, leaving her to believe that whatever Anthony said was true. Elliot then flees, claiming Anthony is attempting to murder him. Rachel follows Elliot and ends up at a wheat silo. Anthony tries to persuade her by pouring wheat on the landing pad this time. Instead, Rachel accidentally kills Anthony in an attempt to stop him. She then attempts to drag Elliot from the grain but finds nothing. Finally, she realized that Anthony was correct. Rachel returns to New York, revealing that she's still hallucinating. She buried Anthony with Nathan, and as she returned from the cemetery, she saw Anthony sitting beside her, and her twins were at the back of the car. That's where the film ends. That's all we've got for you today, guys. Don't hesitate to like the video and leave a comment telling us how much you enjoyed this movie. We'll see you in the following video. Till then, goodbye.